We're back with another episode of the Curb Talk, where we get into the story behind the talent. Today, we're tapping in with one of the rising stars in the game, rapper, singer, songwriter, Gigi Tenase. How you doing?
I'm great, and thanks for pronouncing my name correctly.
I made sure. I gotta make sure. That's the bare minimum. That's the bare minimum. You know. I saw you waiting like for that end part. But yeah. How you doing though?
I'm great. I'm in a really great position in my life right now. I can't complain about anything.
Yeah, no, we're loving the energy that you're bringing today. It's definitely being felt in the studio. But let's start with the first thing that came to mind when we first heard your voice and everything. There's a lot clearly going into that accent, so break it down for me.
All right, cool. So I was born in a place called Sunderland, but I was raised in Australia, and then I moved back to England when I was 15. And I've traveled a lot. Like, I've literally traveled all over the world by myself. And I feel with the environments that I've been around, I've just picked up twangs and certain accents and lingo. And now it sounds like this. And I feel like there's an actual word for it. It's called Oceanic Transatlantic accent. So it just means, like, it's like American English vibe and a bit of Australian, obviously. And I feel like that's what really gives my music that kind of, like, uniqueness. A lot of English think it's American. A lot of American think it's English. But yeah, that's what I be sounding like. My heritage is Romani Gypsy.
Okay.
So yeah, just to clear that up.
yeah. All right. What was it like growing up in Australia then?
It was home. I didn't know any different. Like, it was just normal to be surrounded by 7 beaches. It was normal to have a swimming pool. It was hot, you know. Like, it was home, and it always will be home for me. That's where I believe, like, that's where I belong, kind of thing. But I feel with my parents moving me back to England at such a young age, and it was very difficult. I've had a really hard time, well, in the beginning anyway. I'm really pleased that they made the decision to come back to England, because I wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah. Was it a big adjustment? Like, coming back here?
Culturally, it was so hard. Aussies are very outspoken, we're very loud, we're very straight to the point, and that is a culture thing. I can't speak on everyone, but that is a culture thing. And I felt like when I came to England, I was super outgoing, and people thought I was weird. You know, I had a lot of people kind of looking at me. I had different hair all the time, and people just like, you know, it was very, very hard. And that lasted for years. It wasn't just school. It was going into the work and working as like a teenager amongst adults, and it was a huge clash. So I've had a really hard time with that.
Yeah, would you say you had kind of like a entertainer type personality, like kind of from the beginning, basically?
Yes, I feel like Australians are very Americanized, and so we are very flamboyant, and we are very, you know, animated, I would say. So, and I've always worked in jobs where I've had to work with the public, so I'm very, very comfortable speaking with all types of people and all characteristics and mentalities. So I've always been fine with that, but it's always been the people like that I've come into contact with that's made it quite difficult for me.
Yeah, and have you seen like a shift compared to, all right, then maybe you were seen as weird and like it was different then, but now you feel kind of at home being an entertainer and being in the industry and everything? I
definitely feel like it's starting to be taken more serious and more respected. I think when I was born with a purpose, and I've known from young that I was very different. My mind and how I think about things is completely different to the majority. So I've always felt lonely mentally because I haven't been able to hold conversations with certain people because of that. I feel like now that I'm being so consistent with the music that I'm definitely getting more respect and taken more serious, and people are starting to be like, oh, she's not weird, she's just different, and she's born to be in the industry, because you have to be like this in the industry. You don't really get far if you don't have this outgoing personality, unless you're extremely talented and well connected. So yeah.
And even being in the industry now, do you still feel like, especially in the UK, do you still feel kind of, not out of place, but you stand out in that compared to other people, that you are still more outgoing than even other entertainers?
Yes, I think I'm never going to change myself, because this really is who I am. And I always get referenced to Emily in Paris. She's so out there and bubbly and speaks to everyone, and everyone's looking at her funny, and that will always be me. But yeah, I mean, it goes from like the way I speak, the way I act, the things that I wear, people have stared at me since I was very young. I wrote a track and it said, I've been famous since I was 5 years old. I genuinely have been. I've been catching people's attention since a kid. So, and that's always gonna... That's why the transition from going from like a normal working class person to becoming an artist, it's not gonna be a huge shock for me. It's always been around me, kind of thing. Do
you ever like run into any of the same kind of like issues and criticisms that you had before you came into the industry, just being like that outgoing and standing out?
Yeah, my mouth has got me into a lot of trouble because I'm vocal with how I feel. When I'm happy, you know. When I'm angry, you know. When I'm sad, you know. I'm not afraid to say how I really feel, and I feel like that's burnt a few bridges because I've nipped it straight in the bud. I don't let things lie. I think if you have an issue, you've got to speak on it. And a lot of people bite their tongue because, well, they're at the bottom of the industry and, you know, if you start speaking, you're going to get disliked. And then, so, whereas I haven't really cared about that, whereas now I'm being managed, it is a bit like, okay, Gigi, I know you feel that way, but you've got to rein it in a little. So I'm taking that on board, but my personality, I don't want to get rid of that because I believe that's what makes me real. I don't want to be fake and just shut up and put up. You know, people need to be told sometimes. Yeah.
And when did you realize that music is what you wanted to make your like living doing, and just that was what you were passionate about?
I knew I could sing at the age of 12. And my parents bought me a keyboard and I taught myself how to play just by sound. So I could like literally play like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star just by hearing it and playing.
Wow.
I knew I could sing from that age, but I never acted on it because I never really got backed. My friends were like, oh my God, you can sing, like you need to go in the choir, blah, blah. But I lacked this confidence because I never got pushed and none of my family members said anything. So I kind of just kept it. Then I got to like 21 and I auditioned for X Factor and I did like 6 auditions. And I never got on TV because I flopped the last audition because, you know, it's fixed and they made me do certain things and I wasn't comfortable. But I wasn't writing music. I was just doing covers. And then lockdown came. We had all this time. I built this business. Money was coming in and I had time on my hands. I started writing. And then I was uploading it onto Instagram and that's when the attention started coming. People were like, are you being managed? Are you signed? Did you write this yourself? Who created the beat? And it kind of went from there. So I've been doing music for 2 years now, solidly, consistently. But I've been in the wrong hands. So instead of coming into the music industry and kind of popping, I've kind of like trusted this person, listened to this person, and it's kind of, I've been on a track yet, and I've kind of went left so many times because of being misdirected. So now, recently coming out of a label, I'm now being managed and I'm now on the right track. And that's where we are now.
Okay. What's been the biggest adjustment for you from taking music from just solely being a passion to now being a business and being work for you now?
I left a very good business. I was self-employed and I was making a lot of money through trading and investing. And I was doing exceptionally well. But I believe in here, I've always known that I was made to be someone and to create a legacy. And if I can use that talent to pursue and change my life and the people around me, then that's what I'm going to do. And it's in here. I can't get rid of it, no matter what. Since 12, I've been singing from getting up in the morning to going to bed. It's something that I can't get rid of. And I might as well do it as a living and make money from that so that I can, you know, do it actively every day. At the moment, I'm balancing. It's like I'm living a life of Hannah Montana. I'm working 11 hours a day and going straight to studio, then driving to London and doing a music video. I'm living like 2 separate lives, but I'm enjoying the journey. But I'm really learning. I never got educated in music business, so I've had to really learn the hard way, and I've also had to learn on the job. The legality and the politics of music, I leave to my managers. I've got 3 managers. I leave that to them. Me, I'm an artist. All I want to do and focus on is creating music. That's it.
Who, along this journey, who were the inspirations that got you into deciding that you wanted to make music?
I have no inspirations but myself.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But were there any people that kind of helped you along your journey anyway? Just whether, obviously not people in the industry, but just family, friends, or anyone that...
It was strangers. It wasn't actually people around me.
Mm.
I mean, there was people in my job listening to me sing every day and not saying anything. And my parents were so used to me, or my dad would be like, can you keep the noise down? And I'm like, he doesn't believe in me. I get so angry. So I used to sit in my car and just sing in the car and write, you know. It was people on the internet that did not know me, that like seen something and heard something in me and was the biggest supporters of me. And it was a female called Valentina Reynolds. She was the one that reached out to me, and she was my first manager. And she connected me in so many different avenues. She did a great job, and I genuinely don't think I would be here right now if it wasn't for her. So I needed that one person that believed in me and pushed me, and she got me singing in public. You know, she connected me to people like Fumes, and like there was just so many bridges that she built for me. So huge respect to that. But yeah, it was definitely more strangers than people around me, and I always say as well, it was me that did that as well. Like if I'd not wrote and put myself on the gram, I wouldn't have been noticed. And if, you know, if I didn't sit down and have a meeting with her and give her a chance and say, you know, have you blown any artists up? No? Okay, well, I'm not interested. No, I believed in her. She believed in me. So we kind of worked together as a team, and that's how it kind of flourished, and then one thing led to the next.
No, for sure. It's always harder for people that are around you, that you grew up around, to see that in you. Like your friends and family will never really be fans because they didn't see you. They've seen you and they've gotten used to who you are. So they've built up in their head who you are. So yeah, it's definitely, it's difficult for that transition to be made.
Yeah, definitely.
What was I gonna say? What are like so when you first got into music? Oh no, what I was gonna say was for other people that are at that point where they have a certain level of conviction of who they want to be, they think they have something inside them, but they're still yet to make that first step. What would your advice be to them?
So someone that was like kind of me, that was like they knew they could sing or rap, but couldn't, like they haven't acted on it.
Put themselves out there yet. They haven't made that first.
You've absolutely got to put yourself out there. An opportunity isn't going to come knocking on the door. You have to create opportunity. I'm a huge believer in law of attraction. Whatever you want in life, you need to put yourself in those positions in order to attract it. So if you really love writing music, if you really want to be a rapper, you gotta put yourself on social media. I mean, for God's sake, we got free advertising here. Back in the day, you didn't have that. You know, you had famous people and people that really wanted to do it, but they couldn't. Now we got all this opportunity. So it's like, it's the confidence. My confidence went from singing in a shower and not singing in front of nobody to being on a stage opening up for like Ivorian Door. And sometimes I think to myself, where did this confidence come from? Because I lacked it. People, you've got to find it in here, and you've just got to let it. I tell you what, funny story, let me tell you this. My first ever singing in front of someone was in a bando. And you know, it was really funny because like we were sitting there and it went from like, you know, whatever. And then my ex-boyfriend had this mic from Amazon and he just put it up on in the kitchen. And one of my girls was there. She was trained to be a producer. She opened the laptop. She's like, right, sing. And I was like sweating. And I was like, oh my God, I can't do this. And they really, like, even just singing in front of two people was like quite nerve-wracking for me. But they pushed me and they made me do it multiple times. And then they booked me a studio in like Pirate Studio. And that was my first ever time going to Pirate and being in a booth, you know? And I was like, wow, like I went home gassed that night. I was like, hey. And that confidence there. So I think the people around you as well can actually push you facing your fears, because it's not easy. I think we care a lot about what people think. People say they don't care, but they do. And I think when you know you've got something in here and someone pushes you to do that, yes, it's good. So shout out to them. Mm-hmm.
So now you've entered it, you got into music, you took that first step. how did you find your sound and who you were going to be in music?
Yeah, so this is interesting. I started off singing, then I started writing and singing. Then I realized that I wanted to rap. I felt like my persona as Gigi Tenase was very like rebellious, attitude, and I have a lot to say. I'm very controversial, so I wanted to get that across. And you know what? I've been really let down in my life by so many people that I was starting to get a bit angry, and I didn't want to sing sad songs. I actually wanted to tell people like, no, I'm actually pissed off. Like, so I'm going to address this shit in my raps. And so I started rapping, and everyone was like, a few people were like, oh, okay, like this is different, but you sound like Nicki Minaj and you sound like Cardi B, like, so what's going on? And I was like, I actually can't help that. It's not something I put on. It's something that naturally comes out. I really want people to understand that this isn't an accent that I put on in the booth. Like, I genuinely don't want to rap like in Londoner, because I'm not a Londoner. And I don't have an accent from up north, so I can't sound like that. This is just how I am. So it's very Americanized. A lot of people would say, is your inspirations Nicki, Cardi, and all these people? Yeah, I grew up with Nicki Minaj, but I feel like I do genuinely feel like I have a different, unique twang. So, yeah, it kind of just naturally came. And then a lot of people really rate it. But a lot of people go, are you from America? And I'm like, oh, shit, this is going to be a problem. Because it's constantly something that people are asking me. But in America, they think I sound hella English. So it's like, it's confusing, but it's just who I am. And I think the more people hear it, the more people will just get used to it. It's one of them things that once I pop, people will just be like, oh, okay, that's Gigi. They'll hear it. You know what I'm saying?
Does it ever get frustrating to get boxed into that? As any female that starts rapping is Nicki Minaj, is Cardi B. Does it, like, how do you ever feel like, oh, I need to do this a little bit different here or different there just to escape those comparisons, or do you welcome those comparisons? Like, what is that mindset with you?
It's one of the well, it's been a conversation many times. But my managers that I have now, they want me to run with it because they want me to blow in the USA. So they know for a fact that if I go over there, it's going to pop regardless. And I don't think I'll get questioned from the Americans as much as I do with the English. I think the English crowd is very difficult to please. And they're always kind of like, oh, you sound like this. And there's so many rappers right now that sound like Central C. They've got the same flow. It's very difficult to be different in this day and age. The more different you try and be, like, the more you're sounding like the original. And it's almost like everything's being done. So it is, I do go in the studio sometimes. I'm like, right, let's try and figure out this new sound. Let's try and be different. Let's try and do, but it is so difficult because you find out that another rapper's done the exact same. So you just got to do you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
And then getting even more like technical. You said obviously you started writing and you've done a few things on that side. So when it comes to making music, what is kind of the approach? How do you break down like your approach to? Do you write first? Do you kind of get that inspiration first, and like what's the order of how things come together for you?
Yeah, so I have to get beats that are usually specifically made for me, but I'll listen to a beat first, then I'll go in the booth and I'll kind of like just do some random like yeah kind of things like that, try and get like a flow,
like reference tracks type.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I'll get like, because I like to make my music very melodic. So I like to sing and rap, and I like to sing rap. So I'll do all that, and then I'll sit down and I'll write. And it takes me like 15 minutes to write something, if I like the beat. So it's very difficult for me to write something if the beat isn't slapping like that. But that's how it goes. And then I go in the booth, I get it recorded, and then I listen to it like 50,000 times until it comes out.
Yeah. And it just gets worse each time you listen to it, doesn't it?
And then I'm like, and then I go back to studio, I record it, and then I'm like, actually the first time was calm, let's just put it out. Yeah. That's what it gets like.
Yeah. Nah, it's yeah, people are different. Some people it's like, okay, I gotta keep going back at it, you're a perfectionist, and others it's like, if I keep listening to it, it's gonna get more and more corny and like whatever. So yeah, I hear that. What's the difference between, because you've written not only for yourself but for others, and what's different about the way you approach it when you're making your own music versus when you're writing for other projects for other people?
That's a great question. So I wrote for Nicki Minaj last year, and that was for a Just Eat advert. And it got pitched, and I came second. So close. And why did I get chosen to do it? Because I can sound like her if I really want to. So that was interesting, because when it comes to commercial work, you can't really be explicit, you can't really swear, you have to be very creative by not using any of the words like bitch, hoe, all of that. So it's a next level talent, because you have to then think about what can fill these verses, you know? And it's exciting because you're like, oh my God, at the end when you finished it, you're like, oh my God, this is actually getting sent to them. They're gonna listen to my voice. You never know what opportunities coming. I've also done stuff for like Korean adverts, and which was, because you're now writing for a completely different culture. I didn't have to speak Korean, but it was very fun doing something that was for a complete different country. That it's not for the USA, it's not for England. So that was interesting. But the process is the exact same. I listen to the beat, I get a feel for it, and I start to write, we record it, but then I don't get to go back. Once it's recorded, it's shipped off. So it's kind of like, yeah, but it's good because, you know, that's how I make some of my money. That's one of my money incomes is writing for Universal and writing for Big Sync, you know, but they're like one-off payments. And that works with royalties as well. So once the track gets put out, like one of my tracks got played on Krishan Rock's TV show, and I didn't know about it. Like, they don't necessarily tell you because they own the track once you give it to them. Yeah. And one of my girls was doing hair, and she went, oh, that's Gigi's track. And she rang me. She said, oh my God, your track. I'm like, no, it can't be. And she was like, no, it really is. So that was pretty cool because I want to be in America, innit? So the fact that my music got played on one of the biggest reality shows over there was kind of a good achievement. You know what I'm saying?
No, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as you said, you've only officially, like professionally, been in this game for a couple of years now, and you've got all these things going for you. A lot is made about different artists, how they start is like really important. So whilst you have all of the opportunity in the world, sky's the limit. How do you kind of approach, all right, I need to make sure that the way I come into the game, the way I leave my mark is the right way to achieve longevity? Like, how is it quite a difficult balance?
Of course it is. It's like saying to a first-time parent, oh, you know, there's rules, there's a rule book, you gotta go. No, there isn't. Like, there's no instruction on how to be the perfect person, the perfect artist. Of course you want to be liked by many, but I believe in this day and age, the more hated, the more famous you get, the more views you get. It's almost reverse. It's almost like, be a bitch, say controversial stuff, and you'll blow. It's not really about the talent no more. It's like a whole package. You got to look good, you got to sound good, and you've got to do something crazy to go viral.
It's
and then
a personality that's
it's your persona.
Yeah.
I think the best advice to say to someone is, please be yourself. It's okay to do certain things like other artists because that's life, but just do you and really like own what you do as well. Like, don't try and people please everyone. It doesn't work. And you get disliked that way as well because they think, oh, she sits on the fence. She has no real opinion. We can walk over her, blah, blah. Well, no, because this is a business at the end of the day. And you got to, the biggest thing for me and why I went into rapping as well is respect. Never be respected. You know, I'm small. Small people just don't get respected. And so, you know, from the height thing to kind of like being a female, it's almost like I'm having to earn that respect constantly. And I feel, the more serious you are, the more respect you get. If you're laughing and joking all the time and people just think, oh, yeah, easy. So when you're stepping into this game, it is cutthroat. But don't believe everything the professionals in the industry say. Not everything they say is right. I've had to bite my tongue a few times when people in the industry, like, oh, I've been in the industry 20 years. And you think, oh, okay, well, they must be right. Well, no, not really. Everyone has a preference and everyone has an opinion, and it's not always true. So stick to your guns, trust your intuition, and, you know, do what you love. A lot of people in the industry go, oh, I'm going to make a song for TikTok because because it will blow on TikTok. Why are you not making music that you enjoy listening to? Why are you making... I know we've got to make music for people to like it so they listen to us and buy our stuff. I get it. But why are you making music specifically to blow? People are falling in love with more of the lifestyle that they see as opposed to the music. And the music will be longevity. If you really love what you do and you're passionate, that's what's going to keep you in the game long. If you are just chasing the bag, you're going to keep chasing. It's going to keep running away from you because you have, like I say, I've got a purpose in here and it's in there, can't leave. The people that are just chasing for the lifestyle, yeah, you're going to have your 15 minutes. You ain't going to be around long. You're going to have that one track, it's going to pop and we ain't going to hear from you again. You know what I'm saying? No,
for sure. So I'm just going to push music to the side for a second and just get more into you as a person. So what are the top 3 things that you value in life? It's a very deep question.
1 or 2 things that I value in life.
Yeah, just the things that are most valuable to you.
My parents. My parents, valuable. My parents and freedom. Yeah, I would say.
What does freedom mean to you?
Freedom means that I've been working since I was 14. I ain't ever caught a break. And when I went self-employed, I was still working. And freedom to me is like coming from a working class family where my parents have got manual physical jobs, and they've been working for years. I just want to be able to wake up one day and know that everything's good. So for freedom, so when I got freedom, I can do anything I want financially. I can go anywhere I want. I can eat anything. It's an opportunity thing for me. So I feel like when you're in the rat race, you don't have your freedom. So you're actually technically, some people, I mean, I'm driven. So for me, freedom is everything. For people that don't mind going to a 9 to 5 or an 8 to 6, whatever, and they don't mind that whole routine thing. For me, freedom is massive. Freedom allows you to live. You get one life. Freedom means that you can live in the best, eat the best, and wear the best. And why would you not want the best of the best in this one experience that you get? So yeah, and my parents are my everything. This is what I'm so looking forward to, is saying to my parents, sit down. You never have to work again. That's my biggest, that's my biggest thing. And that, is under the umbrella of freedom.
Yeah, I'm sure that is one of your biggest motivating factors, but what are some of your other motivations? Firstly, starting out your career, and then when you're in like a difficult, tough spot, what kind of keeps you going?
I really believe in myself. I understand that not every day is going to be great, and I love the struggle. The struggle at the time is very hard, but I always go, Gigi, today you're having a really shit day, yo, but tomorrow you're going to be back at it, and that's my mentality. For me, of course, my parents are motivation, but for the motivation for myself is just, it's right. Successful people are born, like they're born successful. Not everyone can be successful, and what I mean by that is, I was born with a purpose. So I know for a fact that if I don't pop this year, it's going to be next year. And if I don't pop next year, it's going to be the year after. It's inevitable. It's in me. So that's my motivation every day. I'm never going to give up. It's not happening. I will not settle. I won't get married, and I will not have children until I accomplish. So it's a self-achievement as well. Every week, there's something great that happens to me. I do affirmations and I manifest all the time. So for me, my motivation is kind of just like, motivation is temporary as well, by the way. I just want to say something. Dedication is what keeps people consistent, and consistency brings results. Motivation is temporary. You can be motivated one day, and the next day you can be sleeping till 12 o'clock, midday, and done nothing with your day. So what keeps me dedicated is my parents. They're still working. So that is enough to slap me in the face every day. And also for me, it's a natural thing that you're born with and not everyone has it. And I don't want everyone to have that. Imagine if we were all dedicated and all super successful. We'd all have businesses with no employees. we would all be really successful. No one would be at my concerts watching me or listening to me because they all be busy doing their own thing and all be stars and influencers. It wouldn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? So you're born with something. You're born with it.
Yeah. And on the other end, do you have any fears?
Yes. I do have fears. And my biggest fear is I can't fail because I'm never going to give up. So it can't be that. My fear is not creating a legacy for my future generation. I want my grandkids one day to be like, you're the reason we're living like this, and why we have so much opportunity, and why I have options. I never had options. I had to work. I failed. I didn't get no GCSEs. I had no qualifications. So I had to go straight and work, and I never had the opportunity to be like, do you know what? I'm going to live my teenage years and enjoy myself and then think about work when I'm in my 20s. I never got that. So yes, doubt and fear comes into me sometimes, naturally as it does, where it's like, but what if it doesn't happen? And what if you get to 80 and you think, I could have been someone? Those doubts are always flooding through, but every time I have a doubt, I kind of do this. And I watched that on a podcast because they said, every time you think of like a fear, either face it or shake it. Like, because fears, humans are born on Earth and our whole life is about survival. Never mind all this materialistic shit. We're here to survive. And a lot of doubts and a lot of negativity come that way as well, because surviving is difficult, right? So there's been times where I've been walking around, I haven't even been able to afford a Greggs, for Christ's sake. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I don't know. It's a fear of not achieving, not failing, but just not achieving my goals. That's all.
Mm. So with that, let's get into those goals. Like 5 years from now, where are you?
I'm gonna be all over your TV screen. I'm gonna be everywhere, without doubt. I'll be in America. In 5 years' time, I will have accomplished becoming an international artist. I already am an international artist. I've already performed outside the UK. So for me, it's just going to be now, but 1,000 times busier. And my parents will be retired and everything. I'm one of these people that like, I might in 5 years' time have ticked off this and this off the list, but there's still going to be another 5 years on top of that of like, right, now where do I want to be? I'm going to have multiple businesses. I've always been headstrong about, I never got qualifications, so I know that I have to work for myself. And I've always wanted to work for myself. I'm a leader. I hate being under. I like to be on top or above. So I think there's going to be multiple businesses, international artist, and I'm going to be traveling as well, doing a lot of traveling. I want to see the world.
Yeah, and then even further than that, when it's all said and done, what is your legacy?
That's going to be in a book one day. I can't say what is my legacy until that legacy has been achieved. Like, I can give you a list of things, but I've always said I would love to become a motivational speaker when I get into my 50s and 60s, because of course I love to inspire people and I love to be inspired. My legacy, I can't tell you because I don't know where my journey right now is heading. But of course I want my legacy. I want people to look at me and think, right, she came from the curb. And she came from sitting in a back lane on the curb playing with sticks and stones to achieving and doing everything from nothing. And I don't come from a family of wealth. It's not really about the wealth, but I feel like it's going to be pretty inspirational. I always listen to people that have come from nothing and got made into something, right? Because it's interesting. You want to hear about the struggles and you want to hear about what they did, but they never go into detail. And what I'm really looking forward to when I talk about my legacy and I inspire people is I will be telling them every little nit and gritty about that, because people go, oh yeah, I came from a council estate, but now I'm a multi-billionaire. But how did you get there though? My legacy will be all about the struggle and all about the journey, and I'm really excited to be able to talk about that one day.
Yeah, and you're intentional about how you get there as well, doing it the right way.
Is that not the best part of the story? Is talking about your transition and how you went from this to that? No one wants to hear about how, you know, like everything just got given to you. It's boring, and people want to hear about. People love to watch behind the scenes. People love to hear real talk, and they love to hear about relatable things that they might be going through, and that might inspire them. And that's definitely what inspires me. So yeah. Okay.
I like to do this with all the artists we bring in. I mean, pretty much everyone, but I want to get into like your playlist. So who do you think, firstly, is the hardest in the game right now in rap and what you do? It doesn't have to be the UK. Anyone.
I know Kara struggled on this one because it's really, really difficult. The hardest in the game. I think the most successful in the game is Sench, obviously. He's done everything that I've wanted to do. And remember, he's been in the game for years. And he is now in America. So that's inspiration for me. And I know I've got a lot of work to do. And I really enjoy his music as well. I know it sounds really cliche, but I really like him because he's so humble. He's not really about the whole like physicality. I listen to his music all the time. I rate his journey. I rate how normal he is. So yeah, I would say Sench.
And who do you class as underrated?
Underrated?
Underrated, yeah.
I'm gonna have to pass on this one. I actually don't know. Underrated myself.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Me? I'm underrated. But not for long though.
And who's in your playlist?
So many people. So many people.
Or is there anyone like, who's the most surprising person that would be in your playlist? That would be
Musoke.
Oh yeah? Are you tapped in? Okay.
Musoke, like I love. Do you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna be so real. I grew up on black soul music. So Etta James, Aretha Franklin, Shirley Bassey, you know. And it's so surprising that I don't make music like that. How can you grow up with like Michael Jackson, all these people, and then not do the music that's similar? I do the complete opposite. It's crazy. My music goes from opera to R&B to house to rap. Like, it's all over the place. I am a versatile artist, so I don't have a genre that I stick to. And I don't have a favorite artist either. I like all genres, because there's always a track, like Nirvana. I only like one song that he did. But there's always something I find in different genres, so I'm all over the place.
Yeah, does that help with like never feeling stale? Like, because you've always got different points of inspiration to kind of pick from.
Yes, of course it does. And like I say, like I'm not one of these artists that just do like Janae Aiko has that neo soul. So you know the next song she does is going to be neo soul. But for me, it's like, what's Gigi going to bring out next? Because she went from rapping to singing. She just brought out a Christmas track. She's doing this. I'm all over the place. And I also change my style all the time. So people are just so intrigued because, and it can work both ways. You can build a fan base by sticking to one genre, I get it. And like a lot of my fan base is all over the place because I might do a rap song that person might hate, but they love my singing, vice versa. But I think that's what keeps it exciting. It's different.
Yeah. Do you ever feel with that, do you ever feel like any type of pressure to kind of cater to these different bases that you have?
No, I don't feel pressure at all. And that goes with just believing in yourself and sticking to your guns and doing you. I never feel pressure. I think a lot of people around you try and make you feel the pressure and try and advise you in certain ways, but you just kind of be like, I hear it, but I'm sticking to what I want to do. Because it's very important that you stick to what you love doing. And like I say, I like to switch it up. I do get a lot of people asking me for features and stuff because they like the fact that I write and they like the fact that I can sing on their tracks, you know, especially rappers who kind of can't sing. Which obviously opens up more opportunity, but yeah, it's nice to dive into it. I don't like being put in a box. Never have, never will.
And to that, what have the fans got to look forward to? And anyone that's just maybe seen you for the first time here, what have they got to look forward to?
The fans have got to look forward to the success and getting to the top. They've been watching me for a long time, even before the 2 years that I've been in the industry. So they're really looking forward because every week there's something new. Mm-hmm. But for the people that have just listened to me now, there's a lot of surprises coming. Whether that be features, whether that be the stuff that I talk about, the music videos that are coming, like there's a lot of surprises coming, and I'm very excited to show that to people.
Okay, is there anything, obviously you haven't got your manager in here with you, but is there anything that you can give any type of specifics on?
What, as in like what's
like,
to come?
What, like future projects, anything, yeah.
No. I wouldn't like to say it because I like things to be in cement and I like things to be set in stone. I would hate to talk on something right now, of course, yeah. And then 6 months down the line, they'd be like, oh, she said she was doing this. Let's say at the moment I'm getting a lot of radio play on big stations. And that's going to help push.
Okay, so if you're watching this, you're going to have to follow her to stay tuned.
You're going to start listening to the radio, y'all. Get yourself on Spotify. Get yourself in your car. Turn up the radio. Yeah, there's a lot of radio stuff. There's a lot of performances coming. And a few features that you guys may know.
Okay, then. I tried. But yeah, we have come to the end of this episode, but it's been great conversation, both before this started and now. Thank you for coming. It was great having you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, that's a wrap.